Hey, I'm Jeff. I'm here for Shop and Save to talk you through how to make your pumpkin a jack-o'-lantern. To start with, we're going to go through the tools. You can get your basic kits that come with your stencils, which are always handy to have. You also have your classic scoopers, your carvers, and even your template guides that poke your holes in to tell you where to cut. Generally, most people just use the steak knife. It works fine for basic shapes and cutouts. For a little more detailed stuff, you can go to any hobby store and get your little ceramic tools. They have these sharp little blades on them. Some are curved, some are straight, some can poke holes, and then also other ones that kind of carve gouges out. It helps you get a little bit more of that detail where those people carve skulls and goblins and things like that. They're a little more sculptural. And they come in big shapes to small shapes, so you can get as big or as small as you want. Other things that you definitely need are tape to tape your stencil to your pumpkin, and then if you want to freehand anything, you'll need a pen or a Sharpie to do that as well. So with that, we'll start carving. So today we're going to start carving our pumpkin. We're going to do something a little bit more detailed and do the Shop and Save Perks card. This is just a general guide. It's not a template, something that I just kind of created. Templates have a little bit more detail, but this will get us started. So basically, to start, you take your pumpkin and you tape on your template in the way that you want it to show up. Okay, so now that we have the template on, we now have to trace the template onto the pumpkin. As I mentioned before, there's a couple tools for this. One is the poker. You just kind of go through and poke a hole in the line every so often to take them show you where you want to cut it once you take the template off. They also have these little guide kind of stencil things that you can actually take and drag across, and it gives you kind of a dotted line across your pumpkin. Okay, so now we've traced the pumpkin. Used a couple different tools. As I mentioned, the tracer. I also used the pen. And you kind of saw how the pen comes out. It almost looks like you drew on it, but you didn't really. What's nice there is that when you start carving the pumpkin, you won't get any of those black lines around the edges. Before we start on the carving part, we got to cut the top off and then gut the pumpkin. So we now have our pumpkin empty, completely scraped out. All the walls are clean on the inside. So now we can start carving the front. To take your saw and get it in. And as soon as you get that started, then you pretty much just keep cutting. So the rest of the stuff is even more detailed than this, and there's no way that we're going to go in and actually cut all this out, these little tiny areas, and go all the way through to have light come through. But if you take your ceramic tools, we can go in and we can just scrape the skin off, and then depending on how far you go into the pumpkin, more light will show through or less light will show through. So we got all the skin carved off. It's a finished pumpkin, now a jack-o'-lantern. All you gotta do is put a candle inside, put the lid on top, light that bad boy up, and then just make sure you go to Shop and Save, get all your pumpkins, candy, all your Halloween needs, and have a spectacular Halloween.